Welcome to the Brant Phillips Show, the show dedicated to results. Now, here's Brant.
Welcome, everybody, to the Brant Phillips Show. Yes, I am Brant Phillips, and yes, this is the show dedicated to only one thing, my friends, and that is results, to helping you create results in your life and in your business. Sometimes this comes with a little strategic strategy. Sometimes it's a little motivational pep talk. Sometimes just sharing with you some of the bumps and the bruises that I've experienced along my path to building my business and creating the life that I live now. And who knows what form or fashion that we're going to help you create results. But what I'm going to do my best to help you do that. So what we're going to talk about on today's show is that there are only two ways to go. You are either drifting along or you are resulting. And yep, you're right. I use the word resulting. So I don't know if this is a millennial thing or where it's coming from, but I've noticed that in today's society, and I'm putting this on you millennials. That's right. I'm pointing the finger. I'm putting this on you. That you can basically just add ing, ed, some kind of conjugation like that at the end of a word, and it becomes a new word. And the other day, little story for you, the refrigerator light went out on our refrigerator, and my son opened up the refrigerator, and the light was not working, and he said, "Dad, the refrigerator broke. It's not refrigerating anymore." I'm like, refrigerating, huh? So anyways, my question to you is, are you drifting or are you resulting? Are you moving closer to the results that you desire, or have you flatlined? Are you going stagnant? And this could just be for periods of your day. So this topic is really coming about from something I've seen a lot. I see it more and more frequently, it seems, today, and I've seen this over the last few years and quite frankly over my entire life. But I'm pointing to the ultimate pit of driftum, which is essentially social media and television. That is the pit of driftum, social media and television. And so I'm gonna focus in a little bit on the real estate guru, entrepreneurial coaching kind of space a little bit, and some of the TV shows and things like that in regards to what we do as entrepreneurs and as investors. But I want you to consider that when you are on Driftabook, Driftagram, Drifteater, whatever, Drifterist, that they theoretically they could all change their names to that, because that's what most people, and I say most people, use social media for. They use social media to drift and really to tell half of the story. A lot of the gurus, a lot of the people that you see showing these, the pictures after they're all fixed up, all the makeup's on place, or they're sucking in that gut, whatever, they're at the closing table showing their check. You're really only getting half the story. And so that's part of the reason that social media and television, just all types of media, is so popular, is because it allows us to essentially kind of, live vicariously through others, to experience a little piece of reality through others. And true, it is a little piece of reality, but it's not the whole story, right? It's not the whole story. The image that we really want, the image that we personally like, if you do any social media posting or writing or anything like that, and I'm guilty of this myself, right? Like most oftentimes, like what we want others to see is, like how things are. Like, this is so great, this is so awesome, this is awesome. But what others don't see from these, real estate gurus, these coaching gurus and house flippers and just social media people and just our friends, right? Just our friends and neighbors and others, is they don't see that investor who behind the scenes is getting sued, or fighting with his spouse, or getting divorced, or filing bankruptcy, or calling a friend for a loan. So I had a friend who's social media person, like hitting me up to borrow money, right? So that's what a lot of people don't see. They don't see the other side to the story, right? And so, like I said, I'm not pointing fingers. Well, I guess I am, but I've also pointed this finger back at myself, right? And so some of those of you that follow me on social media know that I've pointed out my flaws, right? Like I've been on the brink of divorce, like I've struggled with alcoholism, like I've been, overweight and out of shape and just burned out and tired. And, what has gone wrong in my deals before. And, where the proverbial SHI beep beep has gone, it's gone wrong. It's hit the wall. It's hit the fan. And so I've been there and I've done that. So what I'm really talking about today is that when you get clear on what it is that you want, just consider that you're either working towards creating that result or you're drifting, because much of what you're seeing others put on Facebook, social media, whatever, Twitter, Instagram, blah, 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 it's not the entire picture. There is an act of omission that's often taking place. Case in point is a lot of these, these marketing and coaching programs, like they want to highlight how great this is going to be and you're going to make all this money. That's the sin of omission, my friends, because creating a really, really successful, however you define success, creating a really successful life and a business takes a lot of freaking work. It takes a lot of damn hard work, and you are going to have to work your ass off, my friends, because this game of life and business and real estate is difficult at times. And I get to see through both sides of the story. Like I see through the lens of my story, like my life, my personal life, my business, from where I was and where I started from, which was nothing, which was buying my first house on a credit card, not knowing shit about real estate, quite frankly, excuse my French, but that's where I started from. And now I've seen the other side. So I can attest, right, that I can attest that it's hard and it's a struggle, but my friends, it's worth it. And I've seen this through the experiences of my students who come to me knowing nothing to very, very little about real estate, and some knowing more. And I've seen my students who've played all in and like created some incredible results. And I've seen some who haven't played all in, and they've gotten caught up in that drift and in that fight, right? And so another thing I want those of you out there that are listening is realize this. So I get it. Like social media is a part of life, and I'm not saying like delete all your social media accounts or anything like that. But use social media, turn your drift time into production, right? Like when the people that you follow, like don't follow certain people. Like let me just say that first, like stop following certain people. That there's nothing useful or productive about certain people and certain threads on social media, like period, done with discussion. But realize that comparing yourself with others is a drift. So if you're, watching whoever it may be, some big, house flipper or investor, entrepreneur, like be focused on one thing. Stop comparing yourself to them. I have people who come to me that are comparing themselves to me, like, oh, like I walk on water or something like that. Like, stop all that stuff. Like, you should be focused on one thing: becoming the greatest version of yourself. Just becoming the greatest version of yourself. So don't limit yourself by watching someone else. Don't compare yourself to someone else in a negative light. Like you can make a very useful comparison on where someone is and try to duplicate or replicate the results, but try to be better than that person. Try to create your own version. For those of you who are have going through one of my programs, or you're going through a coaching program or a mentorship, try to be better, right, than even your mentor. Not to show them up or in showmanship, but just to create your own unique path, right? And don't limit yourself by watching other people. Find and extract the lesson for you in your life so that you can become the greatest version of yourself. And I'll tell you, like, I love, absolutely, hashtag love it, when my students stop looking up to me as like an idol or something like that, but rather start trying to compete with me. They stop looking up to me and start trying to compete with me, and I love that. That means essentially like they have leveled up, like internally, their personal assessment of who they are and their self-worth. Like I know like that's a shift whenever I sense like there's competition. One of my students recently I was speaking to, reached out, we just connected, hadn't talked in a while. And I finished up my program a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half ago. He just bought a 98 package deal, 98 homes he bought. And I'm like, dude, that is so freaking incredible. And guess what? When my students or people that I know and guys who I'm in masterminds with, when they level up, when they create a next level of result, guess what? It motivates me to become greater and move further ahead. And to hopefully motivate and, encourage and inspire and equip, whoever is listening to a podcast or going through one of my programs, whatever it may be. But the lesson here for you is don't limit yourself, by watching other people. Extract what is useful for you and become the greatest version of yourself. Create your own path, and just go out and create results. And when you're drifting, let's face it, we're all going to do it. Like set a time, like I'm going to drift for these 20 or 30 minutes and watch TV or go on social media or whatever it is. Like don't get fixed on the image of someone or seek out the rest of the story. Like Paul Harvey used to say, now you know the rest of the story. Like seek out the rest of that story with that person, with that mentor, with that strategy, with whatever it's going to take to create that result. Stop watching the SportsCenter highlights and watch the whole game. Watch the whole game. Hell, watch the warm-ups in the preseason and the off-season. Those are actually more pertinent to what actually happens during the game. The warm-up, the preseason, the off-season, those are the things that actually create the results. Champions aren't made during the game. Champions are created during the off season. And I love that. A friend of mine who played in the Super Bowl said that. Champions are not made during the game. Champions are created during the off season. So my friends, every damn day for us in this game of life, in this game of business, it is the off season. Right? It's the off season and it's the freaking game at the same time. Like we get an opportunity each and every day to choose if we're going to drift or if we are going to create results. So my question to you as we close this out is that what is something or someone that you are looking up to or maybe negatively comparing yourself to that is not moving you towards the results that you desire in life and business? Just take a minute and ask yourself that question. Just, ask yourself that question. And then here to follow that up, here's a little challenge for you. Write down a few things you've noticed comparing yourself to about others. Like just write like, oh, I wish could do this like him, or I wish I had this guy's net worth, or this guy's showmanship, or whatever it may be. Like things that you've compared yourself to others, then create some action steps, like draw a line with an arrow and create some action steps to create your own version of those things that that you've been drifting on and watching others and maybe living vicariously through others. rather than taking action and creating your own results and creating the best and greatest version of yourselves. So that's it, my friends. That's all I got. Now it's up to you to start taking action in your life and in your business. And once again, I thank you for listening to the show, my friends, and I look forward to helping you create results in your life and in your business.
You've been listening to The Brant Phillips Show. To listen to past shows, get updates on future shows, and find other resources or information about coaching, visit BrantPhillips.com.